Have you ever worked for something, really works for it, finally got it, and then nothing? Just this quiet little thought in the back of your head going, wait, is this it? Well, you're definitely not alone. It's this bizarre, frustrating paradox that seems to hit high achievers the hardest. The more successful you become by society standards, the big job, the nice title, the growing bank account, the more you might feel, well, empty, trapped, unhappy. In this explainer, we're going to dig into why that happens, and more importantly, explore a totally different way to think about wealth, happiness, and what it really means to win at life.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get right into the heart of the success paradox. Then, we'll play detective and figure out the root cause, this idea that we're all trapped playing a game we don't even know exists. After that, we'll pivot to the solution, a really powerful new way to think about wealth and happiness. And we'll wrap it all up with the one thing that changes everything, your internal scorecard. All right, let's kick things off with the paradox of success. This is all about that weird sinking feeling when you climb the ladder, reach the top, and realize the view isn't what you expected. It's when winning the game feels an awful lot like losing yourself.
This is a million-dollar question, isn't it? Why are so many people who, from the outside, look like they have it all, so deeply unfulfilled? This isn't just some fringe problem. It's a pattern you see everywhere, from anonymous posts on Reddit to the highest echelons of business and finance. It feels like the instruction manual we all got for success is missing the most important part, the chapter on how to actually enjoy it.
And you can see this playing out in real time. Just look at this quote from a user on the FIRE subreddit. That's Financial Independence Retire Early. These are people who are masters at optimizing their finances. They've won the money game, yet here they are, describing what are often called golden handcuffs. The very symbol of their success, that high salary, becomes the very thing chaining them to a life of misery. They're caught in this awful choice between being financially secure and being genuinely happy.
And lest you think this is just an online thing, check this out. This is from Sebastian Page, a chief investment officer at a massive firm, T. Rowe Price. This guy was the textbook definition of a success story, managing big teams, hopping on last-minute flights to Japan, feeling important. But that non-stop grind led to burnout, a year-long head cold, and this blunt realization. His work ethic wasn't noble, it was dumb. He was winning all the short-term battles, but he was completely losing the war for his own life.
Okay, so if this feeling is so widespread, what is actually going on here? That brings us to our second part, the idea that we are trapped by the game. We're going to look at two huge, mostly invisible forces that are basically engineered to make us unhappy.
So, the first trap is something Sebastian Page calls goal-induced blindness. Think about a field like finance, right? It's all about hitting the numbers, the quarterly targets. And that creates this intense, obsessive focus on a single goal. It's kind of like a mountain climber, so laser-focused on the summit that they totally ignore the giant storm clouds rolling in. But this happens everywhere, not just on Wall Street. You chase that promotion so hard you destroy your health. You focus so much on the sales quota that you start cutting corners. You get so locked onto the goal that you become completely blind to the cost of reaching it.
Now, the second trap, it goes even deeper. The investor and philosopher Naval Ravikant has this incredible framework where he says, life is just a series of games we're taught to play. First it's the school game, get good grades, then the social game, be popular, then the money game, get a good job, and finally the status game, climb the ladder. We get so addicted to winning these games, but we almost never stop and ask ourselves, hey, do I even want to be playing this game?
And this right here perfectly explains the problem. Naval says we're all stuck playing multiplayer games. Our scorecard is external. What do other people think? How does my job title sound? Is my house bigger than my neighbor's? It's all about competing with others for status, playing by society's rules. But fulfillment, real happiness, he says, that's found in this single-player game. In that game, the scorecard is internal. The only person you're competing against is who you were yesterday. You're not chasing status, you're seeking inner peace. And you're not following society's rules, you're living by your own values. The whole paradox of success happens when you win the multiplayer game only to look up and realize you've completely ignored the single-player game, which was the only one that mattered all along.
So, if the big problem is that we're playing the wrong game, then the solution is pretty simple, right? We have to start playing the right one. And that takes us to our third section, wealth, freedom, and leverage. This is all about how to change the rules of the game by changing what you're even playing for.
To actually change the game, you first have to understand the price. Naval makes this super clear distinction. Most of us chase money, but we should be building wealth. See, money is just a tool. It's like a social IOU that we use to move value around. Yeah, it solves your money problems, but it is not the end goal. Wealth. Wealth is the goal. Wealth is the stuff, the assets, the businesses, the software, the investments that make money for you while you're on vacation or sleeping or just living your life. Money is a tool. Wealth is what buys you your freedom.
So how do you actually build this wealth? Well, Naval lays out this formula, and it's not about just working 80 hours a week at your job. It's about combining three things. First is specific knowledge, that thing that you're uniquely good at that can't really be taught in a school. Second is accountability, putting your name on the line, taking ownership of your work. And the third, the real secret sauce, is leverage.
Leverage is what multiplies your efforts. Now, the old forms of leverage were labor, having people work for you, and capital, having money work for you. But both of those require permission. You need someone to agree to be your employee or an investor to give you capital. But today, the most powerful forms of leverage are what Naval calls permissionless. Things like code and media. You can write a piece of software, record a podcast, write a book, create a course. You create it once, and it can be replicated 1,000,000 times at almost zero extra cost. It completely disconnects your time from your income. This is how you build real wealth in the 21st century.
Okay, so building wealth gives you that external freedom. Freedom from money worries. But that's only half the battle. You still need internal freedom. And that leads us right into our fourth section, the skill of happiness. This is a radical idea, that happiness isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a skill you can learn and practice, just like any other.
So the first step in learning this skill is understanding its biggest enemy, desire. This is one of Naval's most mind-bending ideas. Just think about it for a second. Anytime you want something, a new car, a promotion, whatever, you are literally signing a contract with yourself to feel unhappy until you get it. Our default state becomes one of lack, of constantly chasing the next thing we think will finally make us happy.
This just flips the whole script on its head. The road to happiness isn't about adding more and more to your life. It's about subtracting the feeling that something is missing. It's not about finally getting everything you want. It's about getting to a place where you're at peace and no longer feel that constant pull of desire. When your mind isn't racing into the future or dwelling on the past, you can actually be present. And in that quiet, present moment, that's where happiness lives.
So the big takeaway here is that happiness is our natural default state. It's like a clear blue sky that's just been covered up by the clouds of desire and social conditioning. The way back to it isn't about trying to change the world around you to match your wishes. No, it's about doing the internal work to accept the world as it is. It's 100% an inside job.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the problem, this weird success paradox. We've diagnosed the causes, goal blindness, and playing these multiplayer games. And we've looked at the solutions, building wealth for external freedom and learning happiness for internal freedom. It all comes down to this one, final, critical idea, your internal scorecard. This is it. This is the whole mindset shift. You have to stop playing for the crowd, the job titles, the awards, the likes on social media. That's all just noise from the external, multiplayer game that leaves you feeling empty. The only game that actually matters is the single-player game you play against yourself. Are you a better person than you were last year? Are you kinder? Are you more at peace? That is the real scorecard.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We think the most valuable thing we have is time, or maybe money, but it's not. The single most valuable currency you have in your entire life is your attention. Every single second, you're making a choice about where to spend it. Are you spending it comparing yourself to other people? Are you spending it worrying about things you can't control? Or are you investing it? Investing in yourself, in building your freedom, in cultivating your peace, and in defining success on your own damn terms. The answer to that question will decide which game you play, and if you win, the only one that truly matters.